Yeah, thank you so much, Sean. This is such an important issue, and I just want to start by saying that this is an issue that is important to every single one of us as Americans. This is not a partisan issue. It has to do with the integrity and the strength of our democratic republic. And it lays out this over 100 documents that you're referencing that I released, declassified and released, spells out in great detail exactly what happens when you have some of the most powerful people in our country directly leading at the helm, President Obama and his senior-most national security cabinet, James Comey, John Brennan, James Clapper, and Susan Rice and others, essentially making a very intentional decision to create this manufactured, politicized piece of intelligence with the objective of subverting the will of the American people who in November of 2016 delivered a historic victory to President Trump, defeating Hillary Clinton. And President Obama and his team, their goal was to essentially not accept the decision of the American people and to use this manufactured, politicized intelligence as a means to enact what would become essentially a years-long coup against President Trump. You have gone into great detail over these years of what the effects of this document and this decision have resulted in. Obviously, a years-long Mueller investigation that cost taxpayers almost $40 million, 2 congressional impeachments, endless smears and attacks against not only President Trump, but his family. He had senior members of his team who were investigated, some arrested and jailed. We had heightened and increased tensions between the United States and Russia. The list goes on and on about the consequences of President Obama and his senior cabinet members politicizing intelligence once again, and I say these words very clearly, to enact what was essentially a years-long coup, subverting the will of the American people in that election in November. Now, you referenced this president's daily brief document.
Now, what's going to come from this? Are any arrests coming from this? Well, it damn sure ain't going to be Barack Obama that's going to be arrested. So we know that's not going to happen. So who's going to be arrested? Who's going to be held accountable for this? That's all I want to know. We got a couple of documents that we're going to read over that was put out here because we're trying to get to the bottom of it just like everybody else. But I'm not getting too excited. That's just not my cup of tea. I want to be excited. I'm sure y'all understand that. I want to be excited. I want to believe that something's going to come from this. But I'm just going to keep it a buck. I don't necessarily believe that anything will. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer or Danny Downer, whatever you want to call it. But I'm just trying to be as honest as possible. I don't see too much coming from this. Although I would love it, don't see it.
This is another instance where you see the Democrats having projected what they were doing onto Donald Trump. The Obama administration was undermining public confidence in the elections, deliberately undermining confidence in the elections, and then accusing the Trump campaign of doing the very same thing. They knew that they didn't have the actual intel or any evidence to actually bring any charges against Trump because, of course, he didn't do any of the things they were accusing him of, but they were constantly leaking to the news media. And that was one of the things that we saw revealed today in these new documents is that they were using the intelligence community essentially as a public relations arm. This is another instance.
No, they've been doing this for a minute. So let's talk about how hypocritical the left has been for the longest time. They try to accuse the right of being the ones that are racist towards blacks. They try to accuse Trump of being the porter in chief when we already know that compared to Obama, Obama was the porter in chief, but he kept the borders open. So although he was getting a whole bunch of people up out of here, although he created cages to hold them in until they was transferred back to their countries and whatnot, he kept the border open. It was not secure. Now, the difference is now the border is secure. Now there's not an onslaught of people that's coming into the country the way it was before. So we're in a net positive when it comes to that. So that's what we're looking at. We got this document that was posted, and I want to go over it with y'all. This was the piece that grabbed my attention. You know, the top of it looking all dramatic, creation of the Russian hoax, real intel assessment. Russia and criminal actors did not impact recent U.S. election results by conducting cyber attacks on infrastructure. Donald Trump wins 2016. Wish they never wanted to happen. December 8th, president of the United States at that point. Briefing was pulled. IC pulls product that contradicts Russia hoax narrative. In December 9th, secret Russia meeting. Obama officials meet to plan Russia hoax. On December 9th, Obama orders. IC begins outlining new assessment to claim election was hacked. The Washington Post posted secret CIA assessment says Russia was trying to help Trump win White House. All right, so everybody was in cahoots here. The deep state leaks. Obama officials used their media propaganda arm to spread fake news. So that's why you got the Washington Post, you got the New York Times, and you got NBC News. New York Times posted Russia hackers acted to aid Trump in election, US says. NBC News posted U.S. officials, Putin personally involved in U.S. election hack. Then fake weaponized assessment. So suppressed prior intelligence showing Russia lacked intent and capability to hack the 2016 elections. All right, so here's the new evidence of Obama administration conspiracy to subvert President Trump's 2016 victory and presidency. Shout out to Tulsi Gabbard. Holy crap. Washington, D.C. On Friday, Director of National Intelligence, DNI Tulsi Gabbard, revealed overwhelming evidence that demonstrates how, after President Trump won the 2016 election against Hillary Clinton, President Obama and his national security cabinet members manufactured a politicized intelligence to lay the groundwork for what was essentially a years-long coup against President Trump. I agree 1,000%. It was essentially a years-long coup and lies. They were lying to everybody. All right, here we go. In the months leading up to the November 2016 election, the intelligence community consistently assessed that Russia is probably not trying to influence the election by using cyber means. We kept seeing that in the information we just now showed. On December 7th, 2016, after the election, talking points were prepared for DNI James Clapper, stating foreign adversaries did not use cyber attacks on election infrastructure to alter the U.S. presidential election outcome. On December 9th, 2016, President Obama's White House gathered top National Security Council principals for a meeting that included James Clapper, John Brennan, Susan Rice, John Kerry, Loretta Lynch, Andrew McCabe, and others to discuss Russia. Now, we just now went over the list of everybody that was inside of the Situation Room discussing this situation. After the meeting, DNI Clapper's executive assistant sent an email to IC leaders tasking them with creating a new IC assessment per the president's request. The first one did not go over well to him because it didn't give him the information he wanted. He wanted information to show proof that that Russia was colluding with Trump in order for him to win the 2016 election. But that didn't happen, so he called for a new assessment be made, and that's exactly what happened. Right? That details the tools Moscow used and actions it took to influence the 2016 election. It went on to say, ODNI will lead this effort with participation from CIA, FBI, NSA, and DHS. This is how to properly use the United States of America resources by committing treason against the current sitting president. He's using all the three-letter agencies to do his dirty work. Okay, here we go. Obama officials leaked false statements to media outlets, including the Washington Post, claiming Russia has attempted through cyber means to interfere in, if not actively influence the outcome of an election. On January 6, 2017, a new intelligence community assessment was released that directly contradicted the IC assessments that were made throughout the previous 6 months. After months of investigation into this matter, the facts reveal this new assessment was based on information that was known by those involved to be manufactured, i.e., the Steele dossier, or deemed as not credible. This was politicized intelligence that was used as the basis for countless smears seeking to delegitimize President Trump's victory. The years-long Mueller investigation, 2 congressional impeachments, high-level officials being investigated, arrested, and thrown in jail, heightened U.S.-Russia tensions, and more. Let me tell you something, man. Before we read the rest of it, I just want to say this. If you are just an average employee working for the federal government and you're being treated, you're being, I don't know, harassed. You can prove that you're being harassed by your supervisor, or you're being mistreated and you're unfairly looked over when it comes time to get your promotions and whatnot. You can actually sue the federal government. You can sue the federal government and maintain your job, your career. Only saying that to say this. Look at all of the stuff that the government has done to President Trump. Wow, he was the sitting president. He was an employee of the federal government who didn't even take a salary. But they put together a years-long Mueller investigation, 2 congressional impeachments, high-level officials being investigated, he being arrested and thrown in jail. They tried to arrest and throw him in jail, heightened U.S.-Russia tensions, and more. We did not care about starting beefs with Russia. We did not care if this was going to lead to a war. We did not care how this will look at all. As a matter of fact, with it all being lies, and Trump maintaining his communication with Russia, with Putin, letting them know that, man, these are all lies. What are they talking about? They then tried to use that as a show of weakness, saying, look at Trump. He's pals with Putin. He's kissing Putin's ass. He want Putin to do his bidding even more because he needed Putin to help him in the 2016 election. And now Trump remains friends with him after he'd done all this stuff. So we went out of our way to support Ukraine, give them billions of dollars. We went out of our way to create a border bill that allotted up to $56 billion for the Ukraine war, so that we can go against Putin. We did all of these things to try to cover our ass. That's why it's important to get to a point in your life where you are telling the truth, because you don't have to remember all the lies you told. Shout out to Tulsi Gabbard for pulling this information and putting it in front of us so that we can actually read what happened. All right, here we go. The issue I am raising is not a partisan issue, and this was written by Tulsi Gabbard, I believe. The issue I am raising is not a partisan issue. It is one that concerns every American. The information we are releasing today clearly shows there was a treasonous conspiracy in 2016 committed by officials at the highest level of our government. Their goal was to subvert the will of the American people and enact what was essentially a years-long coup with the objective of trying to usurp the president from fulfilling the mandate bestowed upon him by the American people. Their egregious abuse of power and blatant rejection of our Constitution threatens the very foundation and integrity of our democratic republic. No matter how powerful, every person involved in this conspiracy must be investigated and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law to ensure nothing like this ever happens again. The American people's faith and trust in our democratic republic, and therefore the future of our nation, depends on it. As such, I am providing all documents to the Department of Justice to deliver the accountability that President Trump, his family, and the American people deserve. Shout out to Tulsi frickin' Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard is the GOAT. Tulsi Gabbard is the GOAT. She's the GOAT for this. She is the GOAT for this. Holy moly. Tulsi Gabbard is the GOAT for this. Yes. Wow. activity on and since Election Day. We assessed that foreign adversaries did not use cyber attacks on election infrastructure to alter the U.S. presidential election outcome this year. We have no evidence of cyber manipulation of election infrastructure intended to alter results. The writing is on the wall. They've sent this out via email. They've posted this as official documentation. They thought that nobody would go back and do any digging. Well, Tulsi Gabbard did go back and do some digging, and now we are here. Now we are here, man. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about this in the comments, bro. This is absolutely wild. Now, here's the thing. Do we believe anybody is going to be arrested? Look at all these names that were inside of the Situation Room. Look at all of this. This is crazy. And then after the first assessment was denied and they admitted that there was no proof of anything, nothing, they went on to call, President Barack Obama then went on to call for another assessment because the first one wasn't good enough. You guys didn't find any dirt. We need y'all to dig a little deeper. Nah, sorry, you're no longer the president. Move on out the way. And I know that January of 2017 didn't come up yet. He wasn't inaugurated officially into his first term, but he was the new sitting president. He was the president at this point. All right. This is when Obama was closing out and trying to make sure he passed on the keys to Trump, and things didn't go the way that they wanted. Bro, man, they gave Trump hell, bro. They gave Trump hell throughout this whole thing. And now they expect for you to just sit back and eat it. We have been helping people grow online. It has been absolutely amazing. We have helped many content creators get from zero to monetization in under 30 days. We even have a couple of these superstars who did it in 1 or 2 weeks. If you want to learn how to do YouTube, I don't care your age, I don't care what skills or talents you have, trust me, I can help you do it effortlessly. Just reach out to me with the word coach and we can get it done. One more thing, we have a YouTube course that I just now created. I'm extremely proud of, and a lot of people are getting so much from. Purchase that course and work with us. You can join our private Facebook group and our daily group calls, which is 3 to 5 days per week, and you can learn so much more than you've ever learned before. I can't wait to hear from you. Love you. Peace.